Hello. Basically going to do... Why am I talking like this? This isn't my real accent. Hello, Samson Hurley. This is me just going through some accents because it's fun. And I hope you enjoy them. Okay, so you're talking about, a southern male accent. Well, yeah, I can do that one, no problem, if you really want me to. Well, I can do anywhere from kind of Georgia on down. But, if you want me to get down into Texas as well, I can start, instead of getting O, I can go O. So, it's tone a lot more like this. But then as well, then if you continue on up by, Georgia, Alabama, I can also do that one, no problem. So I got quite a few different ones there. Oh yeah, well, I love the Midwestern accent. It just kind of sits so nicely in your mouth. And again, you can totally tone it up if you really want to put it on really, really tight. You can really overpronounce things where all of a sudden it sounds like you might start being up from Canada. But no, I quite enjoy the Midwestern accent. Yeah, it kind of there's a lot of fun words to it, so or a lot of fun words to pronounce, so I quite enjoy that one, yeah. Well, if you're from New York as well, the thing about New York is that you really have to work out where you're from, what's your background, if I'm talking like I'm from New York, this is probably what I'm going to be talking about. But hey, New York's New York, I like New York. It's like, I'm talking about it. It's like, hey, what are you talking about, man? I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I'm doing it here. You got a problem? Yeah, well, I'm gonna make it a problem. I am not, I'm not experienced in Native American, so I won't attempt. Okay, now we're on to British. You've got it without T's and with T's, but it doesn't really work like that. Some fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Where some accents they don't really have the T's at the end of the word, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you might not overdo it. Like Harry Potter. Unless of course you are really overemphasizing the whole accent. Then of course you would say Harry Potter. Oh, then again, you could just as well say Harry Potter. No problem. And then going into what you call the British accent with T's, what appears to be the posh accent is in fact a constructed accent. Is what some of the professionals would call RP. It's a constructed accent for radio broadcasting. However, there are many forms of it. I am not an expert in RP, but I can blag my way through RP. But the thing with British accents is that it is not just those two. You head on down by Cornwall, out down by the southwest, and all of a sudden you go down there. It's kind of the strong oars. Out by Dorset and Bristol and up there. I'm not going to try Birmingham, so I'm not going there. Because then I can go on up north, where the northern English accents are totally different again. Because I'm not going to be too specific, but you got the likes, Manchester, Yorkshire, different places like that. There's variations, fair enough. But again, I'm not going to go into there. And then you go in, keep going up north, and you get up to the likes of Newcastle with a kind of Geordie accent. I'm not brilliant with the Geordie accent, but you can get away with one. But then you got your Scottish accent, right? Sorry, pal, no harm, but your Scottish accent sounded more like an Irish accent, and your Irish accent sounded more like a Scottish accent, but neither of which were any good. However, yeah, there's loads of different regional Scottish accents as well. I don't know too many of them, but like the main ones that I would know would be like the difference between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Where in Glasgow the it would be a wee bit thicker like that, and they chat about, Base Hunter like that, isn't that right, Akida? But what else? Then over in Edinburgh, it would be just that slightly bit more well pronounced. Not necessarily, now I'm going a little bit on stereotype here, but it would be something like that. And then you start going up north, and then all of a sudden you start hearing it in the tone of voice, like, where, you might go up by somewhere like Fife, and you'll hear someone talking like this. But again, I'm not expert in these accents, so I'm not going to go there. However, we get to Ireland. Oh no, sorry. However, we get to Ireland where suddenly people start talking like this and oh, I'm going to go down to the pub for a pint. That accent has haunted the Irish nation for I don't know too many years, where there are just so many bad Irish accents out there, and it pains us. So let me give you a taster of just how diverse Irish accents are. Well, my accent is Donegal. It's up in the northwest of Ireland. But going across the north of Ireland, for example, right? So this is Donegal, and then going on, and you start going on to Derry, where it starts getting a wee bit more different, like us. When you can instantly hear it, it's like, all right, boys, what's happening? Different things like that. Nightmare in there, so that's pure nightmare. Then you get on and the County Antrim, for example, where there's different accents again in there. Now, these are just very, very straightforward accents. There are so many diverse accents on in here as well. Also, then going on down to the border, where you have, someone like Louth, for example. Up by Dundalk, you'll hear someone chanting, well, oi, daddy, I'll do something useful for once in your life. Do a few solos there. That's right, Mickey. Good man. But then you start going on then into Drogheda, where it starts kind of getting a little bit. It's half loud, half going into Dublin. Where you start. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, what? But then all of a sudden, then it starts getting a little bit less nasal. And going into Dublin, so you got the north side Dublin, again stereotypical north side Dublin accent. And why I say north side you will hear in a minute. So then you go to the south side of the Liffey, and all of a sudden it starts becoming a lot more pronounced. Now again, stereotype, but just for this purpose, you can really overpronounce things and start letting it get really, really nasal. So but a kind of standard south side Dublin accent would be something along these lines. But that's just going from the northwest on down to Dublin. If I jump all the way down to Cork, for example, it's totally different. Like, it's totally different. I don't even know where it's from. Like, you go down to Cork. Cork's down the very south. Like, and it's like, oh my god, like, it's a total shambles. Like, it's a complete joke. What are you talking about, you lang? Oh my god, and they start getting more pissed off. They start getting more high pitched. Like, what are you talking about, man? So that's the Irish accents in a nutshell. Well, again, there's loads of people, and I'm sorry, Irish people, who I left out. And yeah, we hate leprechauns, because we do. I have never kissed the Blarney Stone. Okay, with the Italiano accent, the funny thing is you have to use your hands when you talk, because the Italiano they use the hand to talk. So that is some of the trick when you use the Italiano accent. Now, first of all, it's pronounced Deutschland. And apologies, German people, that is not how it's pronounced. I'm telling this guy how it's pronounced, and then you can in turn tell me how it's pronounced. This is my kind of standard German accent. I see what you did there with the exceptionally camp German accent. It's so easy to do camp with the German accent. It's just really easy. I don't know why that works. It just is good. But if you can, what I often try to do, I try to throw in some actual German words. Same with what I did with Italian. If I know an Italian word, throw it in. It makes it that little bit more fun. But it depends what your character is, if they do. But a funny little fact, if somebody in England was, if they suspected them to be a German spy during the war, they would ask them to say the word squirrel. It's so difficult to say in the German accent. If I were to be speaking in an English accent, I would say the word squirrel. A squirrel. Squirrel. It's simple, easy, nice to say. But if I were indeed a German spy, and I were attempted to say squirrel, it is a very difficult word to say in a German accent. It's the word squirrel. Squirrel. It's fun. With the French accent is actually quite similar to the German accent, but once you know the difference, then it's very easy to be all, oh, this is horrible, oh, I cannot, sacré bleu, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. Je ne sais pas. Malheureusement, je ne parle pas français. But yes, I do know a few different regional accents. For example, if I were to be from here, I don't know where here is, but it says the strong or at the end of the word. It's not the best French accent. I'm not great at it, but I would get away with perhaps doing something like that. The Russian one is, I find, quite simple to do, really. I quite enjoy doing Russian, actually. Instantly you feel your voice going deeper. I don't know if it's a natural thing to do with the accent, or is it just me that I tend to just do a deeper voice. I'm overdoing it now. But I think your Russian accent isn't too bad, actually. I quite like it. It is lots of fun, yes. Right, now, you got your Australian accent in there. Now, the trick with an Australian accent, I apologise, but I have heard several Australians admit to this, is the Australian accent is very nasal. So if you send all your sound out through your nose, you'll be perfect for it, mate. Knowing some of the lingo as well, knowing the lingo for any accent works perfectly. The trick is, though, knowing the difference between an Australian accent and a New Zealand accent. Now there's the trick. An Aussie accent and a Kiwi accent. For example, if I were to start talking in a New Zealand accent, it's very, very similar in a lot of ways, but it's also quite different. It's a lot more closed in the mouth, and some of the vowels are pronounced slightly differently. The stereotypical phrase for it would be fish and chips, as opposed to in the Aussie accent it would be fish and chips. But no, I personally much prefer the New Zealand accent. It's much easier on the ear, and I find it very relaxing, and it reminds me of watching the making of The Lord of the Rings, so I quite enjoy it. I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed your non-regional American accent. It was really funny. This would be my non-regional American accent. It's kind of your standard east to west. You see, I find this amazing, how you can find this accent on the East Coast and go all over to the West Coast. I'm pointing this way. And go all over the West Coast, and you'll find a very, very similar accent. It's bizarre. On the island of Ireland, you'll go from the north to the south, which takes about 8 hours, and you'll have totally different accents. You can drive from one end of your magnificent country to the other, and you'll find exceptionally similar accents, which I find amazing. I find truly astounding. Same goes for England. England is just so different in their regional accents. So, Samson Hurley, that was some of the accents that I can do. And some of the European ones are better than your ones. Apparently. So there.